If you're a nutrition coach and you're having trouble keeping track of all of your clients, even if it's just a few, it's probably because you're making these 3 mistakes. The first of which is you don't have a proven system to guide everyone through. The second is your client doesn't have clear expectations on how to check in. And the third is a powerful little secret I'm gonna share with you at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So let's dive in, starting with number 1. You don't have a proven and repeatable system to track results. Recently, I got a DM from someone who watched one of my YouTube videos on the check-in process, and here's what it said. Dr. Mark, I just watched one of your YouTube videos on the client check-in process. Good stuff, super helpful. I'm curious though, you mentioned at one point working with over 100 nutrition clients. How did you manage check-ins from a standpoint of keeping track of who submitted, who responded, etc.? Okay, so when this coach heard that I'd worked with over 100 clients, she's probably was like, how did he do it? How did you keep everything organized? She wanted to know how I managed it all. Specifically, how did I keep track of who did what, who had checked in, who I hadn't talked to in a while? And I totally appreciate this question because staying organized like this is what's going to take your nutrition coaching business and your online coaching to the next level. You gotta have everything like this dialed in or it won't scale. See, after training and certifying over 400 nutrition coaches in this space, I've been able to take a closer look at what works really well and what doesn't. And when it comes down to it, having a formal, rock solid check-in process is what separates the coaches that make a bunch of money and help a lot of people and those that just have a nutrition coaching hobby. You need 3 main things for an effective client check-in. The first of which is you need to collect all the relevant information and results. As a coach, it's your job to guide a client to a specific result. This is what they signed up for. You set a plan and then you adjust it based on what sort of feedback you're getting from the client. The best coaches collect this type of information in a structured way each and every week. They're gonna ask questions about what results have happened, what has changed. They're also gonna ask about adherence. How well did the client stick to the plan? Both in their perspective, but also what you can see with the numbers. Number 3, they're also gonna collect feedback cues. How did the client deal with hunger and energy levels, as well as their performance? You're also gonna wanna know things about the client's behavior and motivation. How are they feeling about this process? Do they wanna continue on? Are they super excited to keep crushing it? But also what's coming up? What else do I need to know about as a coach to come up with a plan? This is the information that you collect, but how do you gather it? You also need to have systems in place. So you gotta collect all this information in one place to stay organized. I'm super old school. I like a simple Google sheet to collect objective information like calories, macronutrients, fiber, steps. Then have my clients fill out all the subjective information, answering of the questions through a Google form. When assessing your client's information, it's nice to have a clear idea of the entire big picture, all the information all in one place. Now, if you want the actual tracking sheet that I've used with over thousands of nutrition clients, as well as over 5,000 nutrition coaches have downloaded and used, all you need to do is go to the first link in the description below to get instant access to it. Go download that. It'll include my tracking sheet and my Google form, the one that I use that includes all of the questions. I'm sure it'll help a lot. Now, you may be thinking, I don't need to stay all that organized. I just have a handful of clients right now. Is this even that important? It's necessary that you start this way and be organized right from the beginning because that's what's going to allow you to help more people and scale your business. Start now. Now, if you're struggling to stay organized, it also could be because you're communicating with your clients all over the place. A bunch of different platforms. You got Instagram, Facebook, text message, email, phone calls. Even the best coaches with the best memories are gonna have a hard time recalling all the necessary relevant information when things are all over the place. Pick one form of communication and stick to it. For me, this means collecting all that information in the Google Sheet and then collect some answers through a Google form, then get them to answer some questions through a simple Google form, which I also use the trick of enabling email notifications for Google Forms. So when they submit this information, it goes directly to my email and then I respond that way, and that prompts the check-in process. But you also need a streamlined way to respond. So once the client checks in, they submit all their information, you need to build some consistency around checking in at the same time. I created a system that allowed me to work with 107 nutrition clients all at the same time. here's what I did. So I started by placing 10 to 15 clients on one specific check-in day. You really want to prioritize one check-in day before adding another in. Most coaches can handle around 5 to 15 clients if the correspondence is taking them anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes per client. Again, we're not doing live meetings here because that would take way too much time and they're not very effective. Once you correspond to one individual client, you submit their check-in, you fire it off, you're gonna cross off their name and then move on to the next one. For me, this is the simple and effective way I stayed organized. At the beginning of the week, I'd write down all of my clients and their check-in days in a list. When I talked to them, I crossed them off and I knew exactly who I had checked in with. Simple and effective. The second mistake you could be making is you're not setting clear client expectations around check-ins. If you're not organized and your clients are all over the place, it's probably because you didn't give them a clear enough idea of how to check in, when to check in, and what it would look like. And truthfully, this happens for a few reasons. The first of which is you've been led to believe you need to be open access. You've been told as a coach that you need to be client-centered, which means clients can reach out to you whenever they want through whatever means, because you're trying to be supportive. Let's be honest, rarely anything is so important that it needs to be answered right away. Most people will be able to make the right decisions for themselves in the right coaching system. When your clients are constantly asking questions throughout the week and you're constantly answering them, all this does is confuse them about when they should be checking in, and it devalues the structured check-in process. This is one of the biggest things to overcome as a new nutrition coach. You typically have a handful of clients and you're trying to do a really good job. So you're being extremely supportive and giving them everything they need, and the correspondence is lasting the entire week. And since it's taking the entire week, you don't have much additional time to market your coaching. And what's essentially a very small part-time job turns into a full-time job and it stays stuck there. We've had so many students come into the Dr. Mark method with only a handful of clients and be able to grow to 15 to 20 clients installing a formal check-in process while making sure that their client fulfillment and all of the coaching that they're doing is taking the exact same amount of time. Let's talk about how to communicate this to your clients so you can provide a better service. Because all the stuff that you need to address is right in front of you. You just got to communicate it to your clients so that they see why it's in their best interest to do things this way. Your clients are going to be checking in on a weekly basis. Most people are going to select Monday as the check-in day, but pick a day that's convenient for you. When you onboard a client, you'll say the following, and feel free to pause this and screenshot it. Right now, I have space to put you on a Monday check-in. What this means is once you are finished eating on Sunday, you'll fill out your Google Sheets to give me all of the results and feedback I need, and then you'll fill out the Google Forms to give me some feedback about how you feel things went. Once you hit submit, this will prompt the check-in process. You'll need to do this no later than Monday morning at 9 a.m. because that's when I'm gonna sit down at my desk and I'll start to review my client check-in. If you don't submit on time, you'll be considered late and I won't be able to respond as this is the time I've set aside to review your week. No exceptions. I do understand this happens though, so all you need to do is follow the same plan for another week, where you'll check in on time at your normal check-in the next week. I'll have my detailed response completed within 24 hours and back to you with next steps and action items. Crystal clear, right? You're gonna have to reinforce these policies through time. That is normal. You're gonna have to remind people on how to act and how to treat the coaching. But the more you can stick to your guns, the more organized you'll be and the more people you'll be able to help. And this means a more professional coaching service for your clients and better results for them as well. And lastly, the secret sauce, number 3. Them, not you. Here's what makes the whole thing work. If you want to be able to manage a bunch of clients, the onus needs to be on the client. This is their program, not your program. This is going to mean that they need to follow through on the client check-in process. You can't always be reminding them and prompting them. You can't be chasing them. This is going to be a one-way ticket for you doing all of the work in this relationship. Personally, that's why I don't love coaching apps that prompt the check-in process. Sure, some people are going to be busy and this isn't going to be their number one priority, and reminders can be nice, but you still want them to be bought in and involved in the process. Now, it's your job as the coach to create a system that allows them to check in effectively and know all the expectations around the check-in process. And they need to know why this process is so important and why it's in their best interest. That's how we get people to do things. And this means not inputting information for them or getting them to do things that they could do themselves, which can be really hard when you're a coach that cares and you want to take care of your clients. I totally get it. But they need to be doing that, not only because they can, but it's gonna allow them to take ownership over this process. And that's it, folks. If you're struggling to manage your client check-ins, that's everything you need. As great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'm gonna have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. I wanna give you absolutely everything you need to start and grow your nutrition coaching. I'm gonna show you how to do that in this video. So check it out now, and I'll see you in there.